took a look at some of the basic aspects of NIBRS. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to dive in a little bit deeper and actually fill out a NIBRS review for a case report. We're going to go through and do a little bit of explanation on each of the segments and each of the parts of the NIBRS review process. And hopefully, after this video, you'll be able to fill out some simple NIBRS reviews all on your own. And here we are. So, like we did in the previous video, we're going to start on the thick client, walk through how to fill out that NIBRS review from here, and then what we'll do at the second part of this video is take a look at how to do the same exact process from the browser. So from our case report, this is the same case report we were just using in the previous video. You'll notice I've deleted my NIBRS review out of here. So to show you how simple this could be, when I click on my NIBRS review here, it's going to pop up my NIBRS review screen. Same information we looked at before up here at the top. I'm going to click Start Review. And what this is going to do is it's going to import all the data from that case report, sort out what is NIBRS related, what isn't NIBRS related, and then populate my NIBRS review for me. Then at that point, I'm just going to step through it page by page and make sure it's all correct, add some information where it's needed, and then we're done. It's very simple. So if I go to Start Review, I'm on my first step, that administrative segment. Now for the most part, I don't have anything to do on this screen for my case report that we're currently looking at. I automatically get my incident number. I automatically get the incident date and time. I can put in some extra information. If this event has been cleared exceptionally, I can edit and then drop that menu down to see the list of possibilities of why NIBRS accepts a case report to be cleared exceptionally. Death of offender, prosecution declines, so on. Otherwise, I can just leave this on not applicable and go about my business. If I do select anything other than not applicable, it's going to ask me to put in an exceptional clearance date. Otherwise, I can go ahead and just leave it there. Cargo theft, if it does involve cargo theft, I can hit yes or no. So if a case involves cargo theft, we can make the proper designation there. And then also down here below, it's going to show me the export status. So right now mine's just blank because I have not actually submitted this case report to the state yet. Once I do, it's going to tell me that it was submitted and tell me the date and time that it was. The resubmit button is here in case I need to make a change and I want to update the data that we've already sent to the state. When I hit that resubmit, it's going to mark this to be sent the next time I export my NIBRS data to the state. Otherwise, I don't have to touch that button either. So on this screen, I did absolutely nothing. And I'm just going to go ahead and hit save and go to step 2. Now, on my second step here, this is my offense segment. What it's done is it's looked at the case report and it's found right on my main page of my case report every incident code that I've entered that is NIBRS related. So every incident code that has a NIBRS code attached to it on the setup menu will be imported into here and have its own page. Now in my instance here, I only have one, but if I did have more, I could next in previous to look at all the different codes. Now each of these codes have a plethora of other information that we could attach to them. Now some of these are not going to apply to all codes. So for example, if I edit this segment, you'll notice I don't have the ability to put in number of premises entered or method of entry. I don't have the ability to put in type of weapon or force involved. So these are fields that relate specifically to other types of incidents. Namely over here, we have our burglary codes for how many premises were entered, the method of entry there. And then over here we have for any sort of assault codes, type of weapon and force involved. Below there, you'll see I have additional checkboxes that I can mark based off of what type of incident I'm looking at. Otherwise, on this screen for a basic case report, I have nothing else to do. Just the same as step 1, I can actually just hit save on this screen and go ahead and jump over to step 3. Now, my third segment here is my property segment. And just like the other two, it has automatically imported my property because my officer filled out a property record on my case report. So it pulled the value of stolen automatically, pulled the value of bicycles and the property value automatically as well. So all that was handled for me if I do have any other additional information, and this applies to the other screens as well, if I have any additional information that I need to put in that the officer did not, rather than having to go back, delete this, put it into the case report, and then restart this whole process, I can just hit edit, and I still have the ability to add more property. Even though the officer did not put that in, I could add more data to this. This applies to all the other fields as well. This could be additional victims, this could be additional arrestees, anything like that can apply where we are just using the base data that the officer has put in, but we can go above and beyond and continue to add more data if needed. Otherwise, in my case here, I've got all my information input, so I can just go straight to step 4. Now, on my 4th step here, my victim segment, this is going to be the first screen that I have to actually do something on. Notice it's automatically imported all of my person information. I have a victim who is an individual, age 29, white male, non-Hispanic, resident status is unknown. So all that information was put in there for me automatically. Now, if I come over here and edit this segment, I can still add in types of injuries. You'll notice that since my victim type is not law enforcement officer, I can't put in my LEOCA information. If I change this code from individual to, let's say, law enforcement officer, then my fields down here at the bottom light up to where I can put in additional LEOCA information. So the screens are all trying to pay attention to what you're putting in. They're trying to keep up with you and make sure that you're putting in the correct information for whatever type of case report you're working with right now. Now, we did say that you would have to do something here. So down here at the very bottom, you'll see victim connected to UCR offense codes. This is where each victim is going to be associated to an offense code in the system. Now, this is going to only allow me to pick offense codes that were attached to my case report already. So when it pops up here, it's going to pop up and say larceny, all others. All I have to do is click yes on that. And now I've connected my victim to my offense code. Once I've done that, I can hit save. And now I have that page completed as well and can move on to step 5. My next segment is my offender segment. Notice once again, we've automatically pulled the information from the case report. Now, a good question to ask right now would be, how does the system know? How does the system know that the first person was a victim and the second person was the offender? This is all based off of the contact involvement codes that you've set up previously in the system. All of your codes, arrestee, subject, witness, victim, complainant, any of the contact involvement codes that you've set up for master name in the past can be mapped to be pulled over as victims or offenders when you're using NIBRS. So what I've done is I have one person set as an arrestee, and I have set that up to be mapped as an offender whenever they come over into my NIBRS system. The same thing applies with victim. I have a victim code in my system that I have also mapped to victim NIBRS purposes. That way, whenever a person is coded as a victim in the system, I don't have to designate that person manually from here on the NIBRS screen. That'll be handled for me automatically based on how I've mapped all that together. So, with nothing else to do here, I could go to step 6. This is going to be the next screen that we have to actually put in some data. From this screen, we are supposed to be able to connect a victim to the offender. So we just set up all the victims, then we came in and set up all the offenders, and now it's time for us to actually connect the two using this screen. When I'm ready, I can click Add, and then I can select my victim sequence number, 001, my only victim I have on this case report. And then my offense sequence number will be able to be connected down here. I only have one offender, so I can only pick the one that I've created so far. However, if you did have other ones, you could actually pull those up. Another good question to ask at this point is, how do I know which offender is offender sequence number 1? The easy way to do that from the thick client, if you look over here, you can actually see who each offender is. So in my case here, I know 01 is the white male 28 that's on the case report, and I know that victim segment 001 is white male 29 individual. So once I put in 001 and 01 as my offender sequence number, then I can actually come over here and set what my relationship to victim type is. Each of these can be picked from the list here. You can either type in the code or just pick it from the list. Either way is fine. And you'll notice there's a set list of relationship types that you can use here. So there's many here, so we can kind of scroll through here, you can see them. Things like acquaintance, boyfriend, girlfriend, babysitter, employer. There's otherwise known, which is the one you'll use a lot just because you may not have another code that fits. And then there's relationship unknown, which is just what it sounds like. It's if you have no idea what that person was known to each other or how that person was known to each other. Then there's also all of the family situations of stepchild, spouse, step sibling, and everything else that could appear, as well as victim was offender, which can apply in some case situations as well. For my situation here, I'm going to go ahead and put, since we do know the two people that are involved right here, maybe we know that they are known to each other, but it doesn't fit any of these other codes. So we can go ahead and just select victim was otherwise known. Now that I've filled out this screen, I can save up at the top and I can go to step 7. Now, you'll notice here I've also automatically imported all of my arrest information for my arrest screen here, for my arrest segment. Now, there are some extra fields that we could put in. We can still come up here and modify if we wanted to, but basically all the information that was put in by the officer is done for us. So all we have to do is review that. Once we've reviewed it, confirm that it's correct, then we can go to step 1 and go ahead and run an error check on our case report, and it's going to let us know no errors found for incident number 180003. At that point, we know that this case report has been completed as far as the NIBRS review process is concerned, and we can go on to the next case report and work on it.